All right, welcome to the only podcast where the Death Star is not in a galaxy far, far away. It is located right there in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is the New Millennium Falcons podcast. Joining me today, I have my guy Kenny Gritz. Yo, Gritz Blitz, how are you feeling, my man?
We're doing all right, man. Football's back for better or worse. I'll take the results on Sunday over not having any football at all, believe it or not. So we're doing good. We're doing good.
Will we though? Will we take that? I don't.
Hey, I'm trying here, man. I'm trying.
You are. You're putting up a very valiant effort to be positive, and I really appreciate that because I'm not going to be. But nah, man. My name is Saivion Mixson. Got my boy Gritz Blitz here, and we are here to answer the question that is on everyone's mind. What the hell was that we saw on Sunday? Steelers come into, first of all, completely raided Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Let's start there. I don't know if I heard the Fryermuth thing be that loud in Pittsburgh, let alone in Atlanta. I'm baffled as to how they sold that many away tickets.
Well, man, hey, I thought we sold out. We sold out in July, right? You'd hope that would be all red and black in there, but it is what it is. We're not the only team that the Steelers have done that to. So
You're right.
I guess we got to give credit where credit is due, man. That fan base is hardcore, and good for them.
I just don't understand. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
you got to give the people a reason to get excited, man. I thought some of the buzz would have led to that, but until we go out on the field and do something, man, this is how it is,
Just snake bitten, man. Freaking snake bitten franchise, and it showed up at the worst possible time. But enough about that, man. It was enough about the crowd. That was just a baffling showing from the Atlanta Falcons. They end up losing the game 18-10. Not a touchdown was scored, just straight field goal, 6 from Chris Boswell. If you chose Chris Boswell for your fantasy league, congratulations on your win this week. I can only imagine how excited you are.
No Boswell. I had Moody last night, though. So, hey.
So did I.
Same result. Hey, let's go.
Moody got me. Moody got me a dub, man.
I'm just saying, man, the lack of offense through most teams this week, man, hey, maybe kickers are the secret recipe in fantasy. Maybe we need to bump them up a little bit,
No, I think they're fine where they are. But I will say that that we do have we had way too many chances to win that game on Sunday for it to end in such an unceremonious fashion. As you recall, the Steelers defense just completely overtook that game. Our offense just fell flat. The one unit that we thought we could pencil in as something to kind of look forward to, it just completely I don't know. What are your thoughts, man?
We've seen enough of these kind of football games over the past few years, man. I was hoping we'd be over the hump, we spent enough money, so this wouldn't be the result, but it is what it is. I think that the main villains in this scenario would be Kirk Cousins and Zach Robinson, and I think you and I are about to kind of pick that apart a little bit and see who's really at fault, aren't we?
Just a little bit, because I think that there has been a bit of a, I don't want to call it generalization here, but there's obviously a reason why everybody's upset at Kirk Cousins, because that was simply not worth
80.
whatever the pay scale
Mm-hmm.
is, whatever his salary was for that day, he did not live up
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Um, looking up the stats now, I mean, but it was just a really weird showing from him, but also a really weird game plan from first time play caller Zach Robinson.
It
And
was it was one of the more baffling game plans I've seen from
you
any coordinator tenured in Atlanta ever, to be honest. Like we just want to get to it. We just want to get to
just
it.
go straight into it because
Okay.
I know no other way to do but just to go head first because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So
lost. I'm
imagine you're
lost.
building a game plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Mhm.
You're going through their personnel. You're trying to, put together some concepts, see what you can do. Who's the first person that comes to mind when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense?
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. Do you know how many sacks he had last year off the top of your head?
Um it's got
I
to be
got
in the 20s again.
it's 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first guy you have to worry about is obviously TJ Watt. You could pull any casual off the street and ask him about the Steelers, and they would know that. So for Zach to leave McGarry on an island so often in that game, like exactly what was supposed to happen happened. And Caleb McGarry, he's a bit of a hot topic amongst
He's an
Falcons fans.
enigma
He's a bit
in
of an
our
enigma, because he does some good, but then the bad is, the worst it can be, pass protection. You don't want that. That's the number one thing for a tackle, and that's not Caleb's strong suit.
at all.
But I don't want to be too hard on him because that's not a fair ask for him, yet alone most tackles in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, how often did we get chip help? Did we get a double team on 90? Not very often. How much did, like, I know we ran to the left much more than the right, so I believe he was conscious of Watt's ability to blow up a play there,
Yeah.
but I just don't understand why more emphasis wasn't put on stopping him.
So the advanced stats for Pro Football Reference aren't up yet. I really like theirs when it comes to when it comes to the advanced defense.
Yeah.
But the simple fact that we got into number one so many third and longs, and there was not really a way to combat what he did. Like there was no urgency to stop TJ Watt, essentially.
Yeah.
And the makeshift solution that you did come up with was to chip him not with Charlie Warner, or not to bring Charlie Warner in to help.
Who we thought, he was signed to help with things like this.
That's the thought process, that was his job. No, instead you take Kyle Pitts, who is known for not being the best blocker. He's only a tight end on paper. I'm sorry. He's only a tight end on paper. He really is. And you choose to chip him with him instead of just bringing in, whether that's Ross Dwelly, a more traditional tight end to help you to help you offset whatever it is TJ Watt is doing.
Yeah.
And you decide not to do that. You leave Caleb McGarry, who has these issues, on an island. And I just feel like we shouldn't be shocked by the result. We should be wondering why this was the process.
Yeah, and that's why ultimately Zach Robinson's game plan was, yeah, that's right, just throwing shit at the wall. Yeah, that's why Zach Robinson is who I had the biggest problem with on Sunday. And that hurts so bad after so much optimism around him being signed on. Nobody expected this, and maybe we should have. Maybe we got a little over our skis, you know what I mean? Because we were so excited. Get a boy from the McVay tree. They've had a lot of good success over time. It was his first game calling plays at any level ever, as you said in our pre-show meeting and all that. But
yeah,
still, man, that's disappointing. That's disappointing.
Yeah, that I mean, it just simply can't happen. Like it
Not like
that
that. It's why only lines up on one side of the field. You know where he's going to be. They're not doing anything fancy. They're not really disguising what they're going to do with Watt, at least. But
yeah,
yeah, it was just between the game plan and the play calling, the offense just looked unprepared.
and that's and I know that Coach Raheem Morris doesn't like the whole, conversation about the preseason and how he should have played his guys during preseason.
Yeah,
No coach would want that when they're trying to mitigate injuries. And I can even understand kind of why he was so gung ho about it. If you're already
yeah,
like, if you're already kind of hesitant about playing your guys in preseason and then you lose two depth pieces in the first game that kind of confirms almost confirms your priors beforehand,
yeah,
I can
I,
kind of understand why he's so like, steadfast on, I'm not having this happen again.
yeah,
That
and
being said, that means that you have to put that much more effort into making sure that whatever happened on Sunday does not happen. This is the most this is the most difficult stretch that you're going to have this season. Is
mhm,
this coming stretch that you have? It's very possible that you can start this season 0-5 and it's not a surprise.
yeah.
The yeah,
Vegas might have us as underdogs the next 4 games, so we'll see what happens.
especially after whatever the hell this was that New Orleans just did to Carolina,
Yeah,
that they just put on them was crazy.
hmm yeah, they dominated
So
them whistle to whistle.
yeah,
They
just a
they
pure.
it's Carolina, but I mean, I'm not
Those are
gonna
still
lie, they
grown
looked
men with
good.
families.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
those are still grown men with families that they did that too. But let's go ahead and let's go ahead and start this off. Kirk Cousins,
yeah.
final stat line: 16 to 26, 155 yards, a touchdown, two interceptions, passer rating of 59.0, the worst passer rating that he's had in an opening game in his career.
And it wasn't even prime time. He's supposed to be money during the 1 o'clock window.
That was unnecessary. That was unnecessary, and you know it. But it's okay. It's
Hey,
okay.
the numbers back it up.
Are you concerned about Kirk Cousins? And if you are, why?
All right, so I'm not sure if we're gonna agree on this,
Hmm.
but I'm pretty concerned, man. I'm pretty concerned.
Hmm.
The, I mean, we've seen the numbers over the past couple of days. The the non-existent use of play action, the amount of times lined up in pistol or shotgun,
Hmm.
not getting him on the move at all. I mean, he was
At all.
literally a statue out there. 2020 Matt Ryan had 3 times as much wheels as Kirk did on Sunday. And we'll see what happens moving forward. It was his first game back from the Achilles. I'm praying that it was more of a mental block than anything else. But he never looked comfortable. I think we spoke on this pod weeks ago during the preseason about
Yeah.
how the torn Achilles was on his plant foot, so it could result in a loss of ability to generate velocity by stepping into your throws. And those fears, man, those fears may have been
All came
confirmed on
true.
Sunday. Yeah, yeah, man, it's not good. I'm not ready to hit the. I'm not ready to go to DEFCON 1. Wait, is it DEFCON 1 or 5?
It's like DEFCON 5, I think, is like
Wait, is it
the worst
DEFCON?
one.
Okay, so anyway, I'm not ready to
Some
hit the panic button just
right.
yet. But these fingers, man, they're a little twitchy right now. It was really hard to find any positives to take away from that game, man. It really was. And
Mhm.
hopefully with better protection around him, maybe a little bit of a better game plan and some time to get over these mental hurdles, he can round in can round into a viable quarterback, maybe get back to that top 15 range that we signed him to be, but it's a little scary right now, man. It's scary.
So on my rewatch, I wanted to look at one of the things that I was really concerned with was the fact that, and I keep saying this over and over again. I said it a lot on the podcast with Out of Your Falcon Mind, the reaction pod. Kirk Cousins is a rhythm shooter. He is.
Yeah.
If he's in rhythm, he's probably one of he has a chance to be top 10. And that's what Kevin O'Connell did very well. He got him into a rhythm very early, and he allowed him to kind of stay in that rhythm. By the fourth quarter in 2022, the reason why they were so good was because in the fourth quarter, Kirk Cousins was probably one of the best quarterbacks because he was able to get into that rhythm by that time.
He was clutch. They won so many one score games because Connell was dialing it up. He was comfortable. He knew where someone would be before they were there. He like the back of his hand, man. He knew exactly what the calls were, where to put the ball, and he was comfortable.
And that was his first year in that offense. That's what makes it. That's why I'm not as concerned. I'm not as concerned as you because I saw a couple of times. And I've just with the pistol thing, I've completely put that as, I'm putting this in my pocket as okay, this was him shielding him for the first week. Next week we're gonna come back and we'll see him under center and all that stuff again. Because I think that they thought that they were able to use this as a barometer type game, almost like a fourth preseason game.
Oh, why'd you say it? Oh, okay.
Oh, nobody wants to say it? Okay, that's fine. I'll say it. No, I think they really tried to use this like a fourth preseason game as like, okay, where are we at? Because I know that's what I can't say I know that's what they did on defense, but they were pretty static. They didn't do anything like really, at least from what I saw, they didn't really do much exotic on defense. And so I think that they were definitely using their that side of the ball as like a let's see what we got here, let's see what we can do before we get into the Chiefs and the Eagles in the next couple of weeks. You didn't have that leeway on offense.
No.
You had a defense that was going to be ready then and now. And a couple of times in his press conference, Raheem Morris said, this was a Pittsburgh Steelers game. Your job is to make sure that it doesn't become that.
No, they get a Falcons
Your job is
game.
to make sure that this stays an Atlanta Falcons game, that this stays like a game that you can be balanced and still be able to run the football later on. But I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm not so worried about Kirk Cousins because there were a couple of times in the second half where they got a good play call and they got him in rhythm.
That opening drive was great. What I wanted to see.
Even with him being uncomfortable, as you could see in the pistol, you could still see that he was able to get the ball. That first throw to Darnell Mooney, or excuse me, not the first one, the second throw to Darnell Mooney. The first one should have been picked.
Yeah.
The second throw to Darnell Mooney, where he just rifled that over the middle. While it was still a tick late, you could see it. You could kind of see, okay, this is what the offense wants to do. And I feel like there were a couple times in the second half where they tried to do that again, but a penalty or something made it to where they were unable to get to where they wanted to get to,
Yeah.
And he was never able to get into that rhythm. And so that's when you get a weird play like that, the final interception to Drake London, where he's throwing it into double coverage and, he's pressing essentially. That's when you get those kind of things. And that's when you get that kind of, get the Kirk Cousins that we saw on Sunday. Really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly. We got our guy, Damski, in the building. How you feeling, my guy?
What's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
My bad, guys. I was just listening
Yeah,
to Saivion.
we freaking come on here, and I look up and I see. Does that say Spaces? Who got a Spaces going?
My bad. I honestly didn't think you guys wanted me in, because I'm out walking my dog right now.
Always want you in,
Sorry, I'm
Damski.
on the
Whenever you
phone,
have a
Jay.
chance.
I'm like, I recognize that voice.
Sorry, guys. Pretty popular here. I'm just joking. What do you guys talking about here? Let me jump on in. I got some things.
We are discussing Kirkpatrick Cousins, sir. What are
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not, Adam, I'm the optimistic one.
he's the optimistic guy. Yeah, he's the one.
I didn't
Actually,
hear
no,
Kenny's
I
thing.
got that flipped. Savion's the optimistic one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no.
sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm the one that's optimistic. Yeah, I think there's not much of a concern. Kenny is deathly concerned, right, Kenny?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I feel like I'm JR on this one, where I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not really side to side right now. The way that I looked at it, I'll say this. Okay, it looked bad. It did look bad on Sunday. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. I would even go as far as saying his decision making was borderline awful.
Putrid.
Right? Like, and the thing is, everybody points to that curl that he was trying to throw to Ray, and he dirted it. Like, I personally actually think that was probably one of his better decisions. I personally think he was just trying to dirt it.
Do you think he was trying to dirt that? Because
because why else? Because unless he really didn't understand that Minka was the whole player there and was like really trying to throw. Like, if we have bigger concerns if he didn't understand that was Minka trying to bait him into that.
I don't think
right?
he even saw Minka. I think
I'm praying that he did. I'm siding on optimism there and saying that he actually made a good decision and dirted that ball.
Yeah.
This is who Kirk is when he's under duress, though, and it's who he's been most of his career. You know what I mean? Like, when you can get hitting him and when you can rattle him, he doesn't operate the same, man. He gets frazzled.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm obviously none of us are doctors. I don't think Kenny is. He's just a good-looking guy. I don't know if he's a doctor.
He's a great-looking guy. That's all he is.
The thing that the thing that I agreed with, that I seen, I'm not going to go with the online doctors and saying, oh, his Achilles is not fully healed, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, why are we changing his footwork? Like, why is he at an even footwork when he's been historically a left foot back footwork kind of guy? Like, why is that a thing? Like, little subtle things like that could even be throwing off his game, right? But it's like, who made the decision to do that? Or if it's something to mitigate him moving around, right? Like, I'm not really sure what it is, but that's something that I kind of noted that I was like, that's kind of weird. But I was just talking to Juke about it. Like, the zero play action thing's throwing me. I need somebody from the front office. I need Arthur Blank to come and tell me what are we doing? Like, out of pistol, you're like tailor made for play action. Why are we not running play action? Like, what went into the game plan there that you were having success with the run game, so you can't throw in, not even if you were worried about his Achilles, you don't have to do a lot to get your footwork. Doesn't have to be a full bootleg for you to get a play action going. Like, you could do it out of pistol. You can do it out of him standing right next to you in shotgun. Like, it's not complex. Like, I just don't understand it. And then him being historically good, borderline great under center, one under center snap that came on that fourth down. That was a great play call, probably his best play call of the day. Yeah, like, what is the, if it's not Kirk's limited, then Zach Robinson to me, we're on fraud watch. No, I'm just joking. Not this soon, but I'm worried. I'm worried. I'll say that. I'm not jumping off the boat, but I'm worried. I'll say this too, though. I think the one thing that he did that I like, that I seen most people hate on, was the half orbit motions with Darnell Mooney. I actually like that because I've seen them run that with Cooper Kupp, and they used to get chunks off that, but they just never threw it to Mooney on the half orbit with him going to the flat with blockers. So I like that little wrinkle, but we just never used it. The
Yeah,
way at least the Rams did.
I'm a sucker for
So
the eye candy too, man. You know, I
and
do,
Yeah,
I do like that, and I know we had those joint practices with Miami. I was hoping Zach would try and steal some of their concepts. So a lot of the half orbit motion you're talking about. I mean,
yeah.
I do.
Kenny,
I'm a
did you
fan of
see
that.
that video that circulated today of Tua and Jalen Waddle doing the same footwork motion on
I
the
did
motion?
not. I did
Oh my
not.
gosh, I gotta send you that. It looks so like when plays are just in unison, like it was
Yeah,
like that. That's pretty
please do. I love good offense.
yeah.
so
That's,
first of all, got our boy Hunter Thompson in the building. What's going on, Hunter?
Yo,
hey,
what up, Playboys?
So
big hunt.
check this out. Check this out. And I wanted to get you guys' opinion on this because I actually noticed that orbit motion as well.
Mhm.
The thing with the orbit motion is to kind of get, because one of the things that Kirk Cousins wasn't able to do really was he wasn't able to really manipulate anybody in the middle of the field. He wasn't able to really move anybody. What the orbit motion is supposed to do is supposed to bring one of those linebackers out, or it's supposed to bring one of those players out of the middle of the field to where he can, and create a window. The thing is, I saw all the times, and y'all could tell me if I'm just overthinking this here. A couple of times where Mooney and London weren't necessarily like putting a lot of effort into their open motion. Like they would come out and they would like be lackadaisical coming back out. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so if I'm a linebacker and I'm seeing that, am I going to commit 100% to that, or am I just going to kind of make them show me that they're going to actually use that motion first? And they never, like you said, they never used it. So do you
Yeah.
think maybe that had something to do with it as well? Because I know in the Dolphin system, whenever you see that same motion, they're out of there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like whoever it is, they're turning on the jets before the snap is called. They almost force you to. So do you think maybe that had a effect on it too, or do you think that it was just the fact that they just never used it?
I mean, I do think like the thing with the orb of motion, if nobody goes with it, it just kind of confirms whether it's man or zone usually.
Mm-hmm.
So if Kirk didn't like it and he just checked out of it, he checked into, or didn't, sorry, he wouldn't have checked out of it, he wouldn't have became a player or anything, but he would have just went
Mm-hmm.
into either you throw the motion or you hand it off to Bijan or you do the little check down, whatever the case may be. He just never threw it. So I haven't looked through the offensive all 22 because on the Twitter timeline, there's been verbal diarrhea of it, so I'm just not interested in looking at it. So, but I would say if they didn't throw it, they didn't like it, kind of deal, right?
Okay.
But I still do think, like at some point, you do have to use it, just to show that you're going to use it for future looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of under the impression maybe. I know this is terrible to say. Maybe they were okay losing that game, so they could have some stuff for the Eagles in week 2. I don't know. I'm just trying to talk myself into that. Wasn't as that wasn't what it was supposed to be. That was our preseason game.
I get what you're saying, though, man. Zach's trying to set stuff up for future weeks. It's week 1. Let's throw some looks out there and all that. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm just talking just to talk,
I said it was the 4th preseason game. I'm
You
with you
did.
on that. That's what I think. Hunter, man, what did you see from Kirko, man? Are you worried? Are you concerned?
I'm downright terrified of Kirk right now, for being honest. I do think a bigger issue is Zach Robinson's game planning for the week. But I am downright concerned with what we saw of Kirk, and I'm worried they're trying to, I don't know. I literally watched it last night and through the all 22, and I was like, man, I can't figure out what the hell we were trying to do. I know we were trying to establish Bijan early, and so we kind of got that going, and then after that, it seemed like after we got it scripted, it was like, okay, what are we doing? And we couldn't figure it out from there.
Oh, that's reassuring. That's awesome.
I want to add though,
Uh-huh.
let's continue the Bijan usage like we are.
Absolutely.
I do like Tyler Algier.
I loved the usage of him last on Sunday.
Yeah,
running
but
out wide,
I'm just like,
That was
bro,
great.
play him at 92% snap rate and let's just run it, because like he's special. Like he is, and I love Tyler. And if Tyler wants to go on to the next team and be, whoever he's gonna be, that's great. But we got a horse in the back there, and you can't keep him in the stable, man. Just run it through him. Run the damn pass game through him. I don't care. Just use him just like how you were, man. He turned in, what do you have? I think
111 yards.
111 yards, and the rest of the team had 131. Was that not the stat or something?
It was something along those lines.
200 and
Total
26
total
yards.
yards.
115 yards. Yeah, he almost doubled up the rest of the team.
That's what I'm saying. Like he could do that every week. Like let's just I see people bitching and moaning about that, saying Tyler's got 7 yards per carry. We all know here that's not a sustainable thing. Through a full game, through 20 carries. Let's just. And honestly, they made who was it? I think it was Nate Tice. They made a great point. Is when they went two back, when they went pony personnel with Algier and Bijan on the field. The reason why Tyler was getting so many good looks in the box was because they were motioning Bijan away from the middle of the field and taking a linebacker out of the box. So Tyler Algier was facing lighter boxes than Bijan was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to reference the same thing, man. I want to see more of that pony personnel on the field.
Yes,
absolutely.
Like, I'm with you. Bijan needs to be on the field as often as possible. He's our most explosive playmaker. That offense is going to run through him as it should.
Yes. Yep.
But, like, we were talking about the motions earlier and the orbit motion and everything. Put Bijan in that motion, man.
Yeah.
Do that more often.
Oh, yeah.
Get him looks out of that,
Yeah.
He is probably, like, let's be honest, he's the only guy that strikes fear into defenses that we have.
Yes.
London Pits are great,
Absolutely.
but they got to go out there and earn it. DCs, they know Bijan's special, and they know that they have to adjust to how we use him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Quite honestly, I mean, is there anything on the defensive side of the football? Because we've talked ad nauseum here first 30 minutes about the offense. Is there anything on the defensive side of the football that kind of gives you guys any pause? I mean, Justin Fields.
I thought Jimmy Lake was in his bag. I thought he called a hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I low-key don't think people know how good Matthew John played in that game. Bro, like, the last time we had an edge setter like that, like, dude was totally, like, he was destroying reach blocks. He was sniping in the back, bro. Like, I'm ready to pay him today.
It was nice to have an edge that the offenses had to pay respect to at a minimum.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah.
I saw him taking on double teams, man. Like, it seemed like Arthur Smith was cognizant of where Matt Judon was, and we haven't had a guy that commands respect at that position in a long time.
Right.
I will say, I got to shout out Darnell Washington for that one rep, though, man. That dude is a monster. That dude is a monster. That's Arthur.
Dude.
If Arthur Smith could create a football player, I think it would be him.
Felipe Franks that can block.
Exactly.
I think the three white boys too, linebacker there. Those guys did some damage, man. Troy looked good. Nate looks possessed. I feel like Nate maybe slimmed down a bit. He looked a little bit more quicker in the hips there.
You don't get over that line of scrimmage like that if he didn't. I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No,
Black is slimming.
Dude, the way the Black is slimming. But the way, like, his approach to block destruction should be studied. Like, he does not care who's pulling through that gap. He's meeting him. He does not care who it is, and he's going to meet him and he's going to fill it. I thought the linebackers, they did some pretty cool things where they would slide Caden into on ball, slid Judon to 5-tech, and then played Troy and Nate over top. And I thought our defense looked great when we did that. I'm here for more of that. I don't really care who that sacrifices time to, but if all three of them being on the field and us playing quarters over the top is the answer, I'm all for that, because I'll say this, to me, I feel like we talked all offseason about how good Zach Robinson was. Jimmy Lake decided to say, "Hey, man, I'm a guy too," and it was a great defense. Honestly, if Kirk doesn't throw picks and we don't lose a fumble or whatever the case may be, I really feel like we probably win that game. Like if the offense didn't turn over the ball at all and gave them short fields, I don't think we lose that game. I think the defense wins us enough.
Yeah, man, that turnover battle, that was the deciding
Yeah.
factor. This,
Yeah.
you know, despite how sloppy we looked, how slow we looked, it's like you said, Jimmy Lake did a good enough job where you don't lose a turnover battle. You're right there, man. That game slipped away from us, man. I know it doesn't feel that way right now, but
It
was very
absolutely did. It absolutely did. Even the last, like, what is it? Even the last field goal, it wasn't really like necessary.
yeah.
Like the score says 18. That truly could have easily been 6.
How
Like,
many 50-yarders did Braswell kick?
he kicked 3. He had 3 50-yarders.
Like that's crazy.
He
Including
was a
one
monster.
57, and I think one was 54.
I honestly, I seen some dialogue about the defense lost us that game. I don't know how you could even mention that.
The
Like that's
defense lost us that game.
57, 54. I remember, and then what? 52 was the last one. That's
I think it was 51, but
either way, man. Like either way, I'm excited to see what the defense does in week 2 here.
Yeah, man. I was about to say a lot of the work they did with the linebackers and the front playing well overall. A lot of those 5-6 man fronts they were really fun to watch. But Philly's O-line's a different unit, man. That's a much more dangerous front than what we faced last Sunday.
fantastic.
Kelsey
segue.
or no Kelsey.
Yeah,
They got some dogs on that line.
yeah. And Mekhi Becton's playing good.
Becton at right guard. Oh man, he was hurting people. He was doing what he's supposed to do with that profile. Lane and Mailata speak for themselves. Juergens is kind of the weak point there. He struggled early against Green Bay, so hopefully we can exploit that. But
Grady might be able to get in his bag a little bit more too.
Grady, hey, let's shout him out, man.
Yes, definitely.
How beautiful was it to see him being productive, man. Not just playing well, putting numbers on the board for himself.
1.5 sacks.
That first sack he had, I felt like a weight got lifted off my shoulders, man. I don't know why. I don't know why I felt that way, but man, it's so nice to see. He sacrificed so much for this team, man. To see him back playing at a high level is just
fun.
it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I'll say too. Like just Grady was incredible to watch too. Just even on his run defense too. He's still that guy. But another thing I'm going to tip my hat to Jimmy Lake too. Like I thought his D-line rotations were like perfect. Like Grady was like spring chicken still in the fourth quarter. And that was encouraging to see. I know my boy D.O. David Onyemata didn't have his best game. I expect him to bounce back coming up here. But I thought the D-line overall was just like fresh throughout the whole game.
Right.
That was encouraging to see too, because that was something that Ryan Nielsen did. That's I just hope like that's a continued thing, that we get all those young guys snaps, and then obviously hopefully like Rook and Brandon Dorless can come in and eat some snaps too. And it's more, I'm assuming the reason why they weren't in is just because they're light against the run. So they wanted
I was pretty upset about that. I was pretty upset.
Yeah,
about
no,
that
and rightfully so, right? I try to downplay it, but I get it. Like, it's always a numbers game. It's just stupid. Like, seeing 0% snaps from our whole 2024 class.
Yeah, man, that just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But hey, man, you know who did see the field? And I never thought I'd see the day that Eddie Goldman took a regular season snap in the Falcons uniform.
Got us a nice holding call too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Got us.
That holding call only gets called on nose tackles, because I feel like it's when offensive linemen are trying to reach the nose tackle and they can't. I feel like that's when it gets called, right? It
it was crazy to see, because it was like First and foremost, I had to look up when it was, but it was in the third quarter. Yeah, yeah, dude was trying to freaking what was it, climb to the next, and Eddie Golden was sitting there like, "No, you're not going. You shall not pass." And that was just yeah. I don't you don't see too many of those.
I'll say, I thought like this was a very Mike Hughes type of game too. Not much passing. The second receiver wasn't very good, so he didn't really have much to do. But I thought Mike Hughes was okay. You know, I'm curious to
I
see
Yeah,
loved Mike
what
Hughes
that
shooting
looks
off
like.
the edge on some of those corner blitzes. I thought he was
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I thought like I was talking to Cody Adams or Cody Alexander about it. I was curious to see how they were gonna do run fits this year. And it looks like their answer is just like we're gonna blitz the corners to help out and run support. So it's like it's fun to see. It's fun to see
I
different wrinkles from them.
I think you could do that this game because, like
Yeah.
you said, they don't have a second guy. Like you leave Van Jefferson by himself, it's like all right, so you know,
Yes,
but you try to do that next week against Devontae Smith,
Devontae.
and yeah,
That's
that
correct.
it will not end the same.
Hey,
Yeah.
Devontae's been in the slot a lot. Well, was in the slot a lot more week
I
one,
would
so
love
that'll be
I
an
would
interesting
love it if
matchup.
D. Alford was the guy to do that kind of gets that. But yeah, let's go ahead and segue into Philadelphia, man. We got the Monday Night Football in front of everybody, in front of your mom, your dad. Everybody gets to watch the Atlanta Falcons tomorrow on Monday night next week. How are you guys feeling? Like, do you think that we're ready for this? I mean, we have no choice, but it's happening.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Kenny.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not feeling too great about our chances there, man. I mean, Eagles are a good team, and it's in Philly. Their home opener, man. That crowd is going to be absolutely wild. I'm sure there will be many, many objects thrown at our players upon entering
Hmm.
and exiting the field. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure the Philly fans will have nothing but kind words of compliments for the Atlanta Falcons and their families.
Depends on what you mean by that.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I don't think we match up very well with them to begin with, and the fact that we came slow out of the gates leads to even more pessimism on my part. Like I said earlier, our front's going to have their hands full with that O line. Kellen Moore called up a pretty nice game against Green Bay. You know,
Hmm.
Hurts was sloppy too, and they still put points on the board. So,
Hmm.
on the other side of the ball, real this Zach Robinson, man, you're going to have to call some stuff up. You know, I mean, win or lose this game, I need to see something from you. I need to see you dial it
Mhm.
up. I need to see Kirk get the receivers involved, specifically Drake London, man. I know Slay's a good corner. I know Quinion Mitchell balled out week one, but
Did
I'm
great.
gonna need Drake London to come up and produce for this team. You know, whether the lack of production last week was on him, Kirk Cousins, Zach Robinson, it doesn't matter. You know, third year, eighth overall pick, typical receiver breakout year. I'm gonna need him to show us something Monday night.
Damski.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We haven't had a primetime game in so long. I'm actually am excited for it. Just something about Monday Night Football. You know, I'm excited to see.
I made this joke earlier before you hopped on, but primetime Kirk, baby.
Prime time
Yeah.
Kirk, baby.
Yeah, like I get that. That's my only thing. It's like I just don't want to be a dumpster fire. Like that's really it. That's like it's not really that hard. If we lose by 8 and it's like 22 to 30, like I can live with that. Just don't get blown out on national TV, you know, kind of deal. So we don't get flexed out. In terms of matchups, Devontae Smith in the slot versus D. Alford's going to be interesting. D. Alford's a very good cover corner. So I'm excited to see how they weaponize that. And then obviously I want to see if that trend continues with the like little 6-1 front that they were running. They're going to have to do something different because if it's the one thing that Philly packs in their bag, it's a sound offensive line and a sound defensive line. So you're going to have to really do something to kind of jar them up. So I'm curious to see what kind of sim pressures they get into. From what I've been hearing, I didn't really watch too much of their first game,
The
Um,
Brazil
but I
game.
was listening to PFF's podcast, and they were kind of trashing Jalen Hurts for it, even
He
though
looked
he
bad.
had 200. Yeah, they were saying like he looked bad. He was holding on. He was taking some bad snaps. He had 6 turnover-worthy plays in the game. Like let's continue that trend.
Yeah.
Let's get some turnovers. You know what I mean? And I feel like we have the guys to kind of wreak some havoc. But I think we can all agree our linebacking core versus Saquon Barkley is probably going to be the
Yeah.
marquee matchup. If
Don't
they
let
can
him get
kind
to
of,
the second level, man.
yeah, don't
He looked good. He looked
explosive.
real good. He
You
looked
look
back
like
to rookie Saquon, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that matchup's going to be interesting. But offensively, it's gonna come down to that line versus Jalen Carter in the pass rushers. Um,
Mm,
I, Jalen Carter, I I don't know, man. He's just a free. He might I've made a joke about it,
Freak.
but he might end up throwing Drew Dalman at Kirk Cousins at one point in the game.
over his
That's how
head.
strong that man is. Like I'm not even. I'm really worried. And the fact that they didn't help McGarry last week kind of raises questions for me if they're going to help the interior against him. If there's one man, I'm not going to let ruin my game. It's going to be Jalen, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's the same thing. I just want to see something from the offense, man. Give me something. Give me some kind of glimmer of hope. Give me some Drake. Give me a Kyle. Give me continue the theme with Bijan. Something. Just give me something that I can hang my hat on and say, hey man, we didn't win this one, but it's looking up.
Hunter T.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not excited about this game on Monday. I like Kenny said, I don't think we match up well against Philadelphia at all. Their trenches are just they're phenomenal. Like both sides of the ball, they have ungodly good trenches. And then they have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown as receiving weapons. Dallas Goedert's no slouch either. And the secondary, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and even Darius Slice still. Like that's 3 solid like bodies that can play in the secondary too. So it's like I'm not excited. I want us to show improvement, obviously. I'm worried the defense is going to take a step back because of just how good the Philadelphia offense is. But man, I need the offense to do something because it was bad. It was real bad. But I'm not, I'd say I'm hopeful, but I'm really not. I need to see some improvement.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
let's get this out the way real quick. Screw moral victories, man. Like I know we all really want this dub, but it would be nice to see what we paid Kirk for, right?
Yeah.
That's all. That's all. That's all I was going to say was that
That's truly all I want is just
I
to see
just need
Kirk heave it downfield at least once, and it looked
it
fine.
exactly. I just want confirmation that this is not going to be that this wasn't a this was I won't say that this was just a fluke. That this was first game jitters for the OC, first game jitters for the offense. Which, if you look at some of the mistakes that happened, that's what it kind of looks like. Is the fact that these guys hadn't played together. There's not that
Yeah.
gelling component
Yeah.
there. They look out of
It's
sorts.
almost
Hell,
like if you could have a couple warm up games, to like make sure things look proper, and then go into something like that counts. That would probably be a good thing to get you guys going.
Did you guys happen to see what Matt Ryan said about our game?
What did you say?
I can imagine it wasn't good.
I mean,
Matt was actually pretty I won't say optimistic, but he was pretty understanding of how that happened because of
yeah.
the lack of preseason. He was like,
Mhm.
I mean, this is an entirely new unit, an entirely new offense, and then just everything is brand spanking new, and they
Yep.
just kind of showed up against maybe one of the worst defenses to go up against when you're brand spanking new. And
Yeah.
so because I mean, if you look at the Steelers defense, other than Patrick Queen, I'm trying to think, and I think maybe Jackson. There's a lot of continuity on that defense.
Yeah.
Like, and you could tell that, like Highsmith and Highsmith and Watt were sitting there taking turns trying to jump the snap. Like you those guys were very much comfortable and very much knew what they were doing. It never looked like the Falcons knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that is something that should be attested to coaching. That should be, that is a negative, but there's nothing that you can do about that now. All you can do is build on that and hope that next week is a better representation of what you're going to get this season than what just looked to be a hodgepodge of whatever they wanted to throw out there that first week.
You need a counterpunch to the run game, man. And ours looked slow, rusty.
There was no counterpunch. Yeah,
exactly. And we're gonna need to find one.
We got to get out of the pistol formation because that was brutal. Like, that was painful to watch.
I don't think we're going to, man.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
Because, I think the long-term picture of Penix makes sense for what they probably want to do out of the pistol. But, man, Kirk did not look comfortable in that one bit.
That's kind of my thing. If that and I could kind of see that, Hunter, like, kind of getting ready for the Penix experience whenever that happens. We're not there yet. We have Kirk Cousins right now. Let's keep doing things that Kirk Cousins likes to do. Let's not overthink this and think, okay, let's go ahead and get these guys ready for years later or whatever. Let's kind of stay in the present here.
Yeah. Healthy or not, you got to push the pedal to the floor with this thing, man. And that's just the reality of this game. That's just the reality of this game. You can't go out there and half-ass professional football. If he's hurt, you can't change up the way you call these. It is how people gets hurt, but I mean, if we're that worried about that, he shouldn't be playing right now in the first place. So you got to go out there.
For me, it wasn't like when I said he doesn't look comfortable. Like, it wasn't as much like I think he's playing hurt. Like, I think just like some of the things that they had him do. It was Luke Braun tweeting about it yesterday.
I saw that.
Like,
yeah,
Kirk's entire footwork change, and I understand like with the pistol, you need to be balanced for the sake of like you turning, not giving keys away, yada yada yada. For the pistol, I get that, but that's not Kirk. Like, you don't get a guy who's been in the league for as long as Kirk and been as successful as Kirk to change his footwork this far in.
Yeah, no, I mean,
like that's the part like that I'm talking more about. Like, I understand Kirk looking injured. That's an entirely different conversation. But like just him, like literally, like I think that just is egging on his. Does he have faith in his ankle?
Yeah.
You don't teach an old dog new tricks. Essentially, there's no reason for it. Kirk. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't really have much experience with the pistol. Doesn't he? Mm-hmm. Like, no. He's been either been under center or in shotgun, and mostly under center. But we're gonna go ahead and start to wrap this up. I need predictions from you guys, man. I need one bold prediction from both of you guys before we head out of here. Kenny, what is one bold prediction that you can give me for this next week's game against the Eagles?
AJ Terrell gets an interception. How's that for bold?
That's bold. that is bold. After seeing what George Pickens did to him, that is definitely bold.
Yeah.
Real quick, why?
Because I think that while this game isn't favorable for us, as we've said, I do think that Hurts looks sloppy, slow, and uncomfortable Friday night. And I do think he's prone to making turnover-worthy plays. I think that if we can get to him, we can force him into making a mistake, and he's more likely than not going to be looking. He only looks for two guys, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And we'll see what Jimmy Lake's plan is for where Terrell lines up. I'm sure it'll be to the same side of the field as he's always lined up. But I do think that Hurts is turnover prone enough to where he can throw up a duck, and I think AJ's due. I don't want to go into how poorly he's played of late, but I do think that he'll be able to make a play on the ball.
Okay.
You want a bold too, that. So he hasn't had one since how many years now? It's been years.
It's been years.
Years.
Yes.
It's been 2 seasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hunter, one bold prediction, sir.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was going to say this before Kenny said his, but I was going to say Falcons have 3 turnovers on defense against Philly.
Wow. And is this that feels more like an Eagles thing than a Falcons thing from
Well,
your
I was
tone.
going to kind of lean into the Jalen Hurts looking sloppy.
Yeah.
And I think with some of the stuff we can do up front, we can kind of mess with their center a little bit and hopefully lead to some just snap mishaps. So
Okay.
I'm thinking like in my realm of bold prediction. So I'm going to get a little spicy with it. 2 picks and a fumble. Well,
I like
also
that.
part of it is we are also a good fumble forcing defense, I feel like.
Yeah, I think this is a team that can wreak some havoc during
Like
the
objectively, I feel like we punch well on every tackle.
Yeah. I did notice that as well. All right. I guess since you guys went defense, I guess I'll go offense. Has Kyle Pitts ever had a multi-touchdown game?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. I think this may be the first one.
Okay.
That's mine. That's my bold prediction. Is that I think that Kyle Pitts, I think that the Eagles linebackers have enough of a liability to where if this offense can get going somewhat that you can kind of exploit them once you get into the red zone.
Yeah.
And so I think that Kyle Pitts is the beneficiary of that instead of Drake London simply because of the talent on the outside, which I didn't think I'd be able to say against Philly. But yeah.
Little subplot. I like that. I like that call. You know, as a Pitts fantasy manager, I support everything you just said right there.
It's what I'm
Let's point out a quick subplot to this game, though.
Okay.
Nakobe Dean had his best game as a pro Friday night. Man, if he shows up big Monday, I'm sure the comments on Twitter will be perfectly rational.
He is the reason that Bijan Robinson is not able to go off this game. Oh my God.
What if? Okay, I have another one. What if Jalen Carter is the reason Bijan can't go off this game?
Oh, oh my God, if Jalen Carter was the reason why Bijan couldn't go off, that wouldn't be fun.
Hunter.
That would not be fun. All right.
Hunter.
All right.
Hey, listen,
right,
man. I'm just saying.
Hunter T. We got to go, man. We got to go. Predictions for Monday night. What you got?
I think we're gonna lose 35-10. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But man, I'm not looking forward to this game. I think we're gonna get absolutely blasted.
Ooh, Hunt. Damn, brother.
Kenny, bro.
Sheesh.
Kenny,
Okay.
what you got, man?
Okay. I'm going to say that the Eagles win, but we put up enough of a fight where it's a one-score game. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Philly 23, Atlanta 17.
I like that. I
think we can tighten up in the red zone a little bit. And I think we'll be able to find a way to put together some scores, maybe a late garbage time drive to make it look closer than it is. But I think we'll figure some stuff out. Hey man, that's a little better than 35-10. My
That
Lord.
is crazy.
Listen, dude, nothing about this offense gave me any hope or inspiration that we're going to be able to string stuff together on Monday.
I believe that there are a couple of things that we can kind of exploit on offense. So I'm going to put them in the 20s. I'm going to say 21, but I still think that Philadelphia just rattles off just some explosion, and we are looking at a 31-21 game.
And I want everyone listening to just know that this was a pre-planned jinx by the three of us, where if we all picked the Eagles and the Falcons won.
And as soon as the as the Kirk Cousins masterclass comes out, I want everyone to say thank you to the New Millennium Falcons podcast.
That's right.
When we win 35-10, I better be hearing some apologies.
That's what I want. I want to make sure that everybody comes over here to the New Millennium Falcons podcast. Shout out at NM Falcons on Monday, whenever the Kirk Cousins masterclass does happen. All right. That's it for us, man. Kenny G, where can they find you, man?
at Gritzblitz on Twitter. That's Gritz with a Z. Sporting news, got some stuff coming out, some pregame, postgame stuff. So find me there.
Absolutely. Hunter T, what you got going on, man?
Yo, you can find me on Twitter at HThompsonFB. You can find me here at New Millennium Falcons, and I write over at the Sporting News.
I too, right over at the Sporting News. You can find me over on Twitter and or X, whatever you want to call it, at Mixson_NFL. That is Mixson Mixson. Right over at the Sporting News, and of course, we are here on this beautiful New Millennium Falcons podcast. Coming to you every Tuesday between 8 and 9 is when we start. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate y'all, man. Thank you. All right. We are out.
Yeah, good show, guys. Got to get going. So